Okay, we have the repaired strut assembly, or if you're using a new one, of course, the entire strut assembly. Notice I've put a towel over the boot, CV boot. I don't want to tear that. Okay, so with it resting on there, now we're going to go up top and mount the bolts on top. Okay, now, this is a good spot for a helper, but mine is still sleeping in bed, so I'm going to lift it up with one hand, turn at least one of the bolts on with the other, and we just have to leave it hanging for now. We don't have to actually tighten them all down. This one back here, you have to have a super skinny hand to get it on there. Or have enough dexterity, which I'm not bragging, but I do have. Okay, we have this pretty well on the knuckle below. So now remember, the cam bolt is the bottom, and we had put a mark on it, as you recall. So let's get this one seated. So everything's lining up pretty good here, it looks like. So we'll proceed to work those bolts in. Okay, so from up in the engine compartment, we'll tighten these three strut tower 13mm nuts and studs. What fun would it be if there wasn't one holding it back? It's hard to get at. Okay, so I'm just snugging these up for now. I'll apply final torque when I have the bottom bolts seated and in there. I'll torque them all up together at the end. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to line up. We have our arrow lined up here, or close to it lined up. Let's get a little bit of 21mm wrench on there and hold the bolt head while tightening the nut. Now we're going to just continue to cinch this down while holding our arrow arc. As it gets close, it jumps. And this bolt has to fit behind a little protrusion over here. And when it slips out, you have to put it back on. And this is going to have everything to do with the alignment. Okay, so we've cinched it up 65 foot-pounds, and then an additional quarter turn of 90 degrees on both of these bolts. We have our arrow lined up here with the mark on the steering knuckle. So we're ready for the next step. Okay, these upper three strut tower bolts are 21, which is about what you'd expect on a spark plug. So I'm not able to get a torque wrench in here. So I'm going to basically just do it about the way I do a spark plug. Tight, not overly tight. Trying to do them evenly, of course. That's good right about there. Yep. And this one Okay, had to replace the bar link because it was seized on there too much, too hard to get off. One thing I should mention here, if you saw the first video, what I did is I cut the bar link right in half, but actually that wasn't necessary. I could have just cut it off right here at the sway bar, sway arm, which I wound up doing with a Sawzall. So that was kind of an unnecessary cut there, although it only took a few seconds to do it. But anyway, this sway link, or bar link, doesn't come greased, so you gotta make sure you gotta put the grease fittings on there and then grease it up. And I'm out of grease. Well, you get the message, you get the idea. Okay, let's fit the bar link. Okay, so we'll turn this 18mm nut on until it starts to get snugged up. And we're going to need to hold the stud in the middle. In this case, they put a 5mm. It's an aftermarket part. I didn't pay a lot for. Just got my 5mm in there, holding it up against the strut. The torque on these is 65. So get it up good and snug. If you don't have a torque, if you can't get a torque wrench in there, 65 is about what you're shooting for. And just repeat on the lower one. Okay, the bar link's back in. All that remains now is our brake hose. As you recall, this was 10mm. Okay, there it is. Strut's complete. Going to be smooth sailing from here on out. We'll just jack it up, put the wheel back on, torque to 100 foot-pounds. Okay, the job's completed. I'm going to be taking it out for a test drive here pretty soon. It seems like we have the alignment. Visually it looks pretty good, but of course we're not going to be able to tell until we take it for a ride. And again, it's recommended that the alignment's checked after this job. But I'm looking forward to some smooth riding now, smooth sailing. Thanks for watching this video, and the video series if you watched it all.